right. Here is a lesson on, or a video on lesson 5-5. We are going to be looking at doing inequalities with multiplication and division. So the first thing you need to do in your notes is to write down this objective. If you need to pause it to write this down, go ahead. So we are going to be talking about I can solve inequalities using multiplication or division. So if you remember, in the previous lesson, we talked about solving inequalities using multiplication or division, and we talked about the graphing portion of this. This is going to be a really important part of this lesson again today. So make sure that you're double checking and that you are looking back in your notes on how we graph these equations, what direction the arrow goes, open or close circles. I'll be referencing that as we go through some of these examples today. All right, so let's get started. So there's two rules right away that we need to make sure of when we're multiplying or dividing. Okay, this is very, very important. So when you're multiplying or dividing with a positive number, the inequality sign stays the same. Okay, so what I mean by that is if you have, let's say, 5x is greater than 15. Because this number, this 5 with the variable is positive, my inequality sign here would stay the same. It's still going to be greater than. Okay. This also applies, let's say I had, 3x is less than negative 18. Because the number with the variable, this number again, this 3, is positive, we are still going to keep this inequality sign the same. The number that's by itself, it can be positive or negative, that does not matter. Okay, so that first one, multiplying or dividing by a positive number, sign stays the same. So this is the same so this is where it differs when you're looking at an inequality rule with negative numbers. Okay, you're going to flip the sign to make the inequality true. So what I mean by that is, let's say I had negative 3x is greater than 15. Because this number right here with the variable is negative, you are going to switch or flip this inequality sign. So when you would go through and solve this, it works just like a one-step equation. Okay, you're still going to draw your line. We're going to divide both sides because the relationship is multiplication. We're going to divide both sides by negative 3. That means these go away. And then you're going to go x. And then instead of greater than, we're going to say less than negative 5. Okay, so that's how those rules work. So let's go through and look at a couple examples. So the first example I've got, solve the inequality d over 7 is greater than 15. All right. So what that means, thank you, is that you are going to solve this just like you would a one-step equation. So I'm going to, let me get my drawing tool up here. I'm going to draw my line right down here. And because d is being divided by 7, I'm actually going to multiply both sides by 7. Multiply both sides by 7. These go away. So now I have d. I'm sorry about my writing. I'm writing with my mouse. 15 times 7 is 105. And because there is the 7 over here was not negative, it was positive, my inequality sign is going to say the same. So it's going to be D is greater than 105. Okay, so when I go to graph it, I'm going to graph my 105 here. Because there's no line underneath my inequality sign, I'm going to make that an open circle. And because D is greater than 105, I'm going to face all the numbers that are bigger than 105. So this is going to be my solution. And in your homework today, you're going to have to find both the inequality and you're going to have to graph it.
That's big.
Okay?
That's big.
Okay? All right, so let's look at another example. So I'm going to look at A here, and I'm actually going to rewrite A. One of the reasons I'm going to rewrite A is because my X is on the right side of my equation, and that, can sometimes confuse people. So I'm going to switch it, but I'm going to make sure that my inequality sign right now it's eating the 149.76. So I'm going to make sure it continues to do that. So I'm going to say negative 19.2 X is less than 149.76.
That's my name.
Yes, that is a letter in your name. All right, so now I'm going to solve this like I normally would. I'm going to divide by negative 19.2. Divide by negative 19.2. These go away. Because I'm dividing by a negative number here, my inequality is going to flip. So now instead of it being less than, I'm going to make it greater than. 149.76 divided by negative 19.2 is negative 7.8. Hold on, honey. Okay. And then I'm going to go over here on my number line. I'm going to find about 7.8. It's going to be about here. I'm not going to be super specific here. And then I'm going to make it an open circle because there's no line underneath. And because X is greater than that, I'm going to make my arrow go to the right. All right. If you want to try this example out on your own, you may. We can double check on the answers with that when we're back in person. Okay. One last example for today. We're going to look at this K divided by negative 0.5 is less than 12. So I'm going to say K. I'm going to rewrite it down here. I'll get your squishy. Hold on. All right, so I'm going to draw my line. And because K and negative 0.5 are being divided right now, I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 0.5. Multiply by negative 0.5. Those go away. Because I'm dividing or multiplying by a negative number, my inequality sign is going to change. So instead of it being less than, now it is going to be greater than. And 12 times negative 0.5 is negative 6. So on my number line, I'm just going to assign this guy negative 6 right here. He is an open circle because there's no line underneath. And my arrow is going to the right because it is greater. Okay. Again, you can go through. Hold on, honey. You can go through, and if you want to try this example out on your own, you may. We'll go over it again when you're done. So your assignment today is to complete the IXL on that I have listed. I think it's PFK. And then you're good. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Mama. That's me, Mama.